Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another video with Get Wines Direct. Today is a really exciting video for us because we are getting to answer your frequently asked questions. So whether our customers ask us on Instagram, Facebook, or they jump onto our website in a live chat, we're always happy to help. But today we thought we'd share our general knowledge with a few more of you out there. So hopefully you can sit down, enjoy a glass of wine, and enjoy.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood.
So, the first question, we're going to knock it straight out of the ballpark. Probably one of our most frequently asked questions. Why do people, or maybe you in particular, get headaches when you drink red wine, but you don't get headaches as often when drinking white? So maybe to break it down in a simple version, we're going to be talking a little bit about tannins. Now, tannins are a natural plant chemical that actually help release serotonin, which can obviously in large amounts cause headaches. So to simplify this answer, we're going to break it down into two key components. The first one is a thing called tannins. Tannins are generally found more often in red wine because they help bring out a lovely color and flavor and depth to the wine. A lot of the time it's used within stronger, heavier wines that need aging, but we will get into that soon. But the first thing to know is that what are tannins? Tannins are a natural plant-based chemical that do actually enable or let off a lot of serotonin within the body, which at larger amounts can cause headaches. So of course, red wine, generally speaking, has a lot more tannins because they generally have a bit more of an aging process to them. So therefore you may find that that's part of the case. But maybe the biggest one, and a lot of people don't think about it, is the fact that red wine has more alcohol in it. It has a higher percentage. So therefore, the more alcohol you drink, generally, the more you'll get a headache. So even if it's going down quickly, don't forget you need to keep hydrated, to drink lots of water to still enjoy. So what are the most tannic wine varieties if you're either trying to maybe dodge that headache or at least make sure that you kind of balance it out so you don't have it as frequently? Well, one of them is actually Sangiovese, which we are going to be tasting today. I really, really like the Sangiovese. It's from Italy. It's a 2019. Absolutely beautiful. I can't wait to have some later. But a lot of other ones, the top is going to be Nebbiolo, Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz, Monastrell, Sangiovese, and Montepulciano. So there are some really lovely reds in there. So if you feel like, oh no, I drink a lot of these, maybe just cut back a little bit, mix it up. They're still great, just everything needs to be in moderation. So another question is, does airing wine help reduce the amount of tannins found in a wine? This is a very large misconception, and a simple answer is no. Tannins, no matter what you do, cannot be removed from a wine because it is a chemical found within a substance. But what happens when you allow a wine to breathe is that it influences the change in flavor and softens the tannins through increased O2 within, its atmospheric pressure. So therefore, this allows the wine to breathe, changing the flavor, softening the tannins, and it also softens the chemical vapors that come off because they have been stored for quite a long time within a bottle, especially if they are aged. They do need a lot longer to breathe. But a lot of people may also ask, well, how do we get rid of chemical vapors? Well, a great thing to do without killing your wine is to chill it. Now, a lot of people talk about cellaring, and that, you know, we always drink it at room temperature. And though this is true, room temperature has changed for a lot of us, obviously because we have climate control within a lot of houses. So when we think about chilling, especially if it's a heavier wine, you don't need to chill it too much, but just enough that it doesn't ruin the flavor, maybe around that 18, 19 degree point. But a lighter styled red, maybe like a Sangiovese, you can do it a little bit colder, much like a Pinot. So don't be scared of it, test it and find something that fits you best. How long can we keep a bottle of wine? Well, unfortunately, this is a very vague question because every single bottle, or I should say every single variety, and then every single production of every single variety can be different. A lot of the time it ranges from the tannic structure to how the producer wants to create the wine, whether they want it to be drank young or they want an older aged wine. Generally, the more tannins, the longer it will be able to sit. But a general guide for most wines like a Sauvignon Blanc, a Pinot Gris, a Riesling, and also some younger styled Chardonnays that aren't oaked can be around that 1 to 2 years. You want to drink them quite fresh. Reds are very tough because producers are more predominantly making younger wines now and readier to drink, so they are going to have less tannins in them. But we can look really, if you're looking at a nice young red, 2 to 3 years. This Sangiovese in particular is a 2019, so normally people might think, oh, it's a little bit young, but just off the smell, it's lovely and fruity, and might as well give it a sip. No, I'd say it's ready now. Now see, that's lovely. I absolutely love Sangiovese, but I'll get into that a little bit later. But then we're getting into the fine and rare. So these are generally wines that are made to be cellared. They're made so that they improve over a long period of time. A lot of wines such as Tempranillo, Cabernet Sauvignon, Nebbiolo, they can all be aged for a longer period due to their tannic structure. So you can give it anywhere from 10 to 20 years, but for your best answer, check with a producer, whether it's going onto their website. Generally, they really care about the wines they create, so they will have information there for you. And if you're checking out any of our stuff, you will see down below on each of the wines pages, we do give you a pretty specific time period for you to keep those. And feel free to ask us questions online too. We're always happy to help.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's good. So let's get back to the questions. How do we best store our wine? Well, if you're one of the lucky few, a cellar. And you may be wondering, well, what degrees am I going to keep it at? Well, generally speaking, you can range anything between 13 to 18 degrees, but you just want to make sure that whatever room you have it in, whether you have it in a cellar or not, that it's dark and a slight level of humidity. We want to make sure that any bottles that have corks in it, unlike these two Stelvins here, put on an angle, because we want to make sure that we keep that cork moist, or what's going to happen is it'll dry out, it'll start to crumble, and also it will let pockets of air in, which could end up ruining your wine. So make sure corks on the sides, Stelvins stay standing. So the next thing you want to make sure is don't keep your wine, whatever you do, anywhere near a running fridge, washing machine, dishwasher, or any large appliance, because what's going to happen is whenever they turn on, they're going to let off a lot of hot air, a lot of moisture into the air, which could really ruin your wines. A lot of winos actually slurp wine because, much like swirling the hell out of that glass, it induces and brings oxygen in, allowing to open up the flavors, bring beautiful aromas there, and also quell some of those chemical or, alcohol-like vapors. So give it a go. And if anyone tells you, hey, you're a snob, you just wink at them and say, no worries at all. Final question. Is it weird that I like my red wine slightly chilled? And I'll give you a very, very easy answer. Hell no. Pinot Noir, Sangiovese, a lot of reds are great when they're chilled. Obviously white should be chilled at all times, so that's out of the question. But reds are brilliant. And when we're talking about chilled, and we're jumping back to that cellar temperature a little bit earlier on in the segment, we talked about a lot of people saying that red wines should be drank at room temperature, but we do need to take into account that room temperature a lot of years ago, due to not having as many climate control options, was a lot colder than it is now. So the ideal is actually around that 18 degrees. So for a red, especially a Shiraz, you have no harm in all of chucking it in, giving it a little chill for maybe 20 minutes or so just before popping it open, and you can really get a great experience. And also, it's going to help reduce some of those alcohol vapors, so you're really getting the full extent of the wine. But make sure that you don't chill it too much, or what actually happens is it inhibits the overall flavor of the fruits. So test it for yourself, find your best temperature. But until next time, guys, sit back, enjoy that wine, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah, hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're around it. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Hey, feeling good, like I should. When in dark, I walk around the neighborhood. Feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Hey, some days you wake up and nothing works, you feel surrounded. Gotta give your feet some gravity to get you grounded. Keep good things inside your ears just like the waves and sound it. And just say whatever.